Now, there was a lot of chatter online last night about President Trump potentially pardoning Jeffrey Epstein's madam, Ghislaine Maxwell, who is currently serving prison time for sex trafficking underage girls to Jeffrey Epstein. And I had a comment I wanted to make about this story because I watched the video. President Trump was asked by CNN's Caitlin Collins whether he intended to pardon Ghislaine Maxwell because Ghislaine Maxwell's appeal to the Supreme Court declined to hear her appeal. And so her only recourse at this point would be to ask President Trump for a pardon. CNN asked President Trump while he was in the Oval Office whether he planned to pardon Ghislaine Maxwell. And this is his response. And I'm going to tell you what I make of this. So go ahead and play this video.
Today, Mr. President,
say it.
The Supreme Court is back, and they rejected today an appeal by Ghislaine Maxwell to overturn her conviction. That means her only chance of getting out of prison is a pardon from you. Is that something you're...
Who are we talking about?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
I haven't heard the name in so long. I can say this, that I'd have to take a look at it. I would have to take a look. Did they reject that?
She wanted to appeal her conviction.
And what happened?
They said that they were not going to hear her appeal.
I see. Well, I'll take a look at it. I will speak to the DOJ. I wouldn't consider it or not consider it. I don't know anything about it. So, but I'll speak. I will speak to the DOJ.
Why would she be a candidate for clemency, sir?
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to speak to the DOJ. I'll look at it. I have a lot of people who've asked me for pardons. I call him Puff Daddy has asked me for a pardon.
But she was convicted of child sex trafficking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to take a look at it. I have to ask DOJ. I didn't know they rejected it. I didn't know she was even asking for it, frankly.
Okay, so this video created some backlash because, Caitlin Collins was obviously trying to set President Trump up by asking whether he would pardon Ghislaine Maxwell because she wanted to be outraged by the idea that Trump would pardon Ghislaine Maxwell. And I want to be perfectly upfront. I don't think President Trump should pardon Ghislaine Maxwell. I don't think he will pardon Ghislaine Maxwell, but I think it was not a question that was asked in good faith by CNN. It was an attempt to trick Trump into appearing to go soft on Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. So CNN, as always, can be completely discounted. The beginning of the video, President Trump didn't seem to know who Caitlin Collins was talking about not because he's unfamiliar with Ghislaine Maxwell, of course, everyone knows that name, but because this is a massive press gaggle in the Oval Office, and Caitlin Collins spoke very quickly. I don't think President Trump heard the name Ghislaine Maxwell at first. That's why he said, wait, who are you talking about? Then when Caitlin Collins said Ghislaine Maxwell, he says, oh, I haven't heard that name in a long time. That's a comment that you make when you actually didn't fully comprehend or you couldn't place who the other person is talking about. And I just want to say, and this is not a scandalous take. This is not salacious. This is actually me just sort of dismissing this, even though I strongly believe that President Trump should not, and I don't think he will, pardon Ghislaine Maxwell. President Trump said nothing wrong in this response. President Trump said nothing bad or unreasonable or anything scandalous whatsoever in this response. He literally just gave a very I don't want to say prepared answer, but he gave a very deferential question that I get a lot of pardon requests. Very boilerplate is the word that I'm looking for. He says, I get a lot of pardon requests. I always consult with the DOJ about it. I don't know the details of what happened at the Supreme Court or her appeal or what she's asking me for a pardon for. And he just said he was going to talk to the Department of Justice. This is such a general response. It could apply to literally any pardon request that a president gets. And this is, I'm sorry to say, you know that I have had my differences with, specifically the Attorney General on how the Trump administration has handled all of the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. But in this case, President Trump, this is not dramatic. This is nothing. It's truly a nothing burger. What President Trump said was not wrong or bad or unreasonable. It was just boilerplate. It was general. It's a non-controversy. And like I said, I don't even think President Trump knew who Caitlin Collins or heard what she said at the very beginning. And once he did, he was like, oh, well, I'm just going to, talk to the Department of Justice about the details because I know nothing about what you are asking. How is that dramatic whatsoever? It is not. Like I said, I don't think President Trump should pardon Ghislaine Maxwell. She was convicted, and in my opinion, rightfully so, for sex trafficking underage girls to Jeffrey Epstein, and allegedly committed acts that are nearly as egregious as what Jeffrey Epstein did himself. Because of that, she should remain in prison. She is not a good person. She is a danger to society, and she deserves that prison sentence. I don't think President Trump should pardon her, no matter whether she was willing to sit down with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and cooperate with that interview or not. She already seemingly got a cushier position, and she was transferred to a cushier prison as a result of that cooperation. I certainly don't think that she should be let off easy when it comes to justice for the victims of Jeffrey Epstein. And like I said, I don't think that President Trump is going to pardon her. Again, totally boilerplate answer, super, super general, non-controversy, nothing burger.